My cross-country journey into the subject of the year 2012 took me to Washington, D.C. As I walked the streets and visited the many sites of the Capitol, I realized that many of America's founding fathers were Masons. Benjamin Franklin and George Washington were both Freemasons. I visited the Capitol building and many other sites. I ended my trip to Washington by going to the George Washington Masonic Museum in nearby Alexandria, Virginia. There he was, our first president, wearing his Masonic apron. There was the symbol of the compass and the square, just like the strange A's on the monument of the Cross of Henday. I wondered what this was all about. Driving south from Washington, I made my way to the warmer weather of the Deep South. A rain began to fall as I entered the small town of Elberton, Georgia. It was there that I discovered a monument called the Georgia Guidestones. This was America's Stonehenge, and like Stonehenge and other monuments, they are astronomically oriented. Built out on a small, flat area in the nearby Appalachian Mountains of Georgia, stand these huge slabs of granite. On the surface of the stones are etched what look like some kind of new 10 Commandments in 8 different languages. English, Arabic, Chinese, Hebrew, Hindi, Russian, Spanish, and Swahili. Gary Jones is the editor of the local newspaper, the Elberton Star. I asked him about the Georgia Guidestones. I wanted to know what the Guidestones were and who built them.
Around 1980, a gentleman came to town, supposedly, and went to a local banker and asked the local banker to help him locate a granite company that would enable him to erect a monument for the future. His name was R.C. Christian. It was a moniker that he gave himself to deal with the local people, and he didn't want anybody to know who he was. The local banker that he talked to was a fellow by the name of Wyatt Martin. With professional help, they were able to find some granite companies that were able to build the Guidestones on a scale that this guy envisioned. And all the talks about where the Guidestones came from, it was R.C. Christian. So, yeah, I don't know where the name came from or anything. When you see these Guidestones, you'll understand that we're talking about something much larger than your average monument. So, you know, the idea was to help Mr. Christian find someone who could operate on that grand scale. It's eerily similar to Stonehenge, and it's built so that at certain times of the year, you know, the sun comes through and the shadows that it casts and so forth and so on. So it's really a neat thing. I think that what they've got inscribed on those stones are something that someone thought out thoroughly. You know, the different languages. There's a lot of great work that went into putting those stones up, and not just the engineering end of things, but the thought that went into putting what's on those Guidestones. As far as the strange stories go, occasionally I'll get a phone call from somebody who will ask me, you know, are you in the community where the Guidestones are? And they'll have these strange theories about who Mr. Christian is and what the Guidestones are. And when they were first erected, I think they had some cult groups come in and do some, I don't know, spend the night out there. And when you see the inscriptions, there are guides to the future. There are things on there like maintaining a population of whatever. And some people think that it might encourage, elimination of overpopulated areas. It's a message to a future generation, just the way Stonehenge is, just the way the pyramids are in Egypt. So yeah, I mean, the guide stones are going to be here for a long, long time. The Cherokee Indians call this part of the world the center of the universe. There are Masons here who may have had some influence on the guide stones.
Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Along the capstone of the Georgia Guidestones, sitting on top of the monument, is a message written in 4 ancient languages: Babylonian cuneiform, Egyptian hieroglyphics, Sanskrit, and classical Greek. The message says, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason." Like a message sent forward into the future, the Georgia Guidestones seem to be telling us how to live in a new way. I couldn't shake the strange story of the Georgia Guidestones. I was haunted by them and their message. I wondered about the mysterious gentleman, R.C. Christian, who had paid to have them built. Why had he stayed anonymous? Was R.C. Christian an alchemist or a mason? Maybe there is an order of spiritual people who still walk among us. You know, some kind of shamans or alchemists. They might look like you or me, but they are actually more aware than us. They know the future, and they have secret powers of the mind that we have lost. Heading back across the United States, I stopped at the Denver airport to meet a friend. With an hour to spare, I wandered through the airport. In several places, I discovered large murals that had been painted. These murals are spectacular, and I was impressed by their artistry and their poignant messages. On the south side of the airport, I discovered a plaque commemorating the men who had built the airport.